warning before you listen. This epic is not for children, nor for the faint of heart. We retell the ancient Greek myths as they were born, unfiltered, unsoftened. Scenes of violence, curses, betrayals, and a hunger for power that shows no mercy. Given the many conflicting versions of the Titan War, the events have been rebuilt to complete the missing pieces. Here, we tell the myth as it was meant to be told. Sources and references are listed in the episode description.
Chapter 55. From the War of the Titans. Clash of weapons and the fall of time. Who saves the gods? The roar of armed mercy. Sometimes salvation is more violent than war. Heavy breaths, rushing footsteps, doors flung open, distant explosions, as if the world itself were exhaling its last breath. And then Hades, screaming in a voice no one had ever heard from him before. Roars of soldiers, shouts of victory mixed with the taste of blood, boots hammering the stone floors, crying, "We won! They fled like cowards! Chase them down, don't let them escape!" Hestia raised a burning banner. The fortress breathes again. We've lit our fire inside the tyrant's chest. Hera laughed, for the first time since this war began. Erebus ran. Cronus is buried under rubble. A soldier shouted from atop the walls, "Open the gates! The eagles never return from the sky unless they carry a victory." And the fortress erupted in the ecstasy of triumph. But then, a roar, sharp, sudden, silence crashed down like a blade. A single footstep struck the stone like a verdict. Hades bellowed, "Stop! All of you, stop! This is not the time for victory. Our brothers, on other fronts, they are drowning in hell. Cronus has risen, and time itself is now their enemy. Every cheer we let loose here could be the second one of them is struck down out there. So what do we do? Leave them behind, or set the skies ablaze? Again?" His eyes glowed within a fire. "Cronus has moved, and every minute we delay is another bite of time chewing through one of my brothers." Hestia, clutching her spear like a child she refused to let go, said, "If Zeus falls, no other lightning will ever be born." Hera, her rage barely hiding the terror beneath it, growled, "I swear, if even one of them dies, I'll turn Tartarus into Cronus's personal grave." Metis, silent in the corner, was drawing a battle map on stone. She said, "We have 3 fronts, 3 commanders, 3 wings of shadow-born eagles. Then let's open the sky and bring them back before their names become stories carved on their tombs." The plan didn't launch. It rose like the fortress itself had awoken. This wasn't an attack. It was a resurrection. Hades, clad in a black armor pulsing with curses, declared, "I'll go to the sea. Alone. Poseidon will not die." Hestia, kissing her spear as if sealing a vow, said, "I go to the land. Demeter and the giants shall not be buried beneath the earth again." Hera, stretching her hand to Metis, said, "And the sky? That's mine." Metis laughed softly, a quiet sound full of dread and admiration. "The sky? No one survives in the sky, but if you return with it, I will write your name on the brow of war." The eagle division split in 2. Half flew with Hestia, half flew with Hera. And Hades, the god of death, he went alone, not to fight, but to breach, to steal, to rip the living from the jaws of time itself. Trumpets, wings unfurled, swords hummed, chains roared. Then, silence. Hera, boarding a chariot forged from glowing clouds, whispered, "I want them all alive, and if one dies,
Let time be buried with him. Hestia, eyes closed, muttered, "No one steals my brothers, unless I choke on their blood." Hades, without looking back, simply said, "I'm not saving them, I'm bringing them back, because the war is far from over." A high-pitched pulse, an explosion, then 3 different shock waves blasted from the fortress, each one ripping the sky in a different direction. And thus began the greatest rescue mission in the history of the gods. There was no time for tears, no space for farewells, only a single vow echoing in their chests. We leave no one behind. We leave no one to time. No one gets devoured. And anyone who saw them now would understand. The war had not yet begun. Everything before this was merely the prologue. For it takes a god to save a god, when time itself becomes the enemy. This chapter of the epic has come to an end, but remember, what you've just heard is not a record of facts, but the echo of a myth, a story born from the imagination of the ancients, etched into the long memory of humankind. If this tale stirred something in you, if it opened a door to reflection or wonder, don't forget to support the channel and share the journey with those you love. And in the comments, tell us which moment in this chapter struck you the most and why. We'll meet again in the next chapter of this audio odyssey through time. Until then, farewell.